Welcome to episode 334 of the 365 Message Center show. It has been Build this week, so there are a few announcements in the Message Center about Build bits and pieces. Starting off with introducing Copilot PCs. This is a new category that we're going to be interested to talk about. We've got some ability around controlling the access to transcripts, recordings, and AI content, and evolving Copilot in Windows for your workforce. Let's talk about all of that.
Yes, let's talk about it, as Daryl says at the top of the show. Let's talk about it. Welcome, everybody. So glad to be here. The week after. It's the week after Build, one of Microsoft's premier Tier 1 conferences. And I'm excited to talk about this maybe controversial topic of Copilot Plus PCs. That'll be interesting. Love to see some conversation in chat in the comments of the video, which you can do down below. And you know what else is down below in this video space in YouTube, Terrell?
The carefully crafted description that I spend hours making sure has the chapters in it.
Chapters, absolutely. So if you're here and you're like, hey, I want a specific message, well, check out the chapters down below. If you're on the audio podcast, you're probably already hit the speed button and are speeding up to like 1.5 or something. So you'll get to it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I hear it's common, Daniel. And I haven't actually listened to myself at 2 times speed. You
probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
But no, and we'd love to hear from you on the socials. We're at 365 MCS. As well as email, people. We received the first email.
Yes.
Thank you, Heidi. Send us an email. Greatly appreciate your comments. We'd love to hear from you and hear from everyone else. So you can reach out to us at the email address show@365mcs.com. Love to hear from you, and thank you for the encouragement. Daryl, let's just jump into it. Shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do this first one at the top about this announcement that was at Build, or it was talked about at the Build conference, which is introducing Copilot Plus, the plus sign, PCs, MC 794502. When I was hearing people say Copilot Plus PCs, I was like they're adding it or something, adding PCs and Copilot. No, it's Copilot Plus PCs. This is bringing the power of Copilot down local. I think that has been one of the biggest gaps in using Copilot is you need an internet connection. Which is what we most have anyway. Most of us have anyway. But, there are times when you don't have an internet connection and you can't use Copilot. But, would be nice to have some sort of functionality local. But it also helps to, I think, remove really the focus here is remove the processing having to happen up in the cloud, but bringing that local, and it brings some functionality to us, right? So these are special PCs, special processors, running Windows 11. It says in the message rolling out with certain processors, and then AMD processors will follow later. So there's kind of 3 bullets here, Daryl, of functionality. I'll go from bottom to top because I think it's going from least controversial at the bottom to the most controversial, which is the top. So Windows Studio Effects. Bringing some of that studio effects to your video calls, cool. I probably won't use it.
Like the kind of whole eyeball making sure I'm actually looking at you when I'm not?
Yeah, right. So I could be looking over to my side, but it looks like I'm looking at you, I guess. Live captions with real-time translation for video calls. I think that's awesome. Now, of course, you're going to have to be connected to the internet, to do that. But I like this real time, this translation happening because, and I saw somebody talking about, how in the future will we really need these services that teaches people how to speak another language when we're going to be able to speak another language because using services like this that will translate things live. And so it's going to be interesting. And then the most controversial one of all, I believe. What?
Yes, that is the next one. But I think one other thing that illustrates that processing on the machine, it's not in the list, but we're seeing this trend with mobile phones as well that have got AI involved, which is some of like image editing and image processing that you're able to recognize something or cut out the background. So those sorts of things don't need the cloud to do that, and that's leveraging the neural processor, the NPU, on your machine. Yes,
absolutely. And then the most controversial one of all, recall. I believe it's the most controversial, which, in this message says, which enables you to find mission critical information faster. That sounds like a good idea. I like that. Except that when I hear that what it's actually doing is taking screenshots of everything I'm doing and saving it so that some hacker can come in and get it and see. No, so that is what was talked about. It's like, wait a minute, how is this secure? And I think that's what's going to come out in the future. We're going to hear more about this and get an fuller understanding of the security profile. Because hackers coming in, getting all those screenshots, or your company, having access to all those screenshots. What is the process around this and details? I think that'll be very important. But so yeah, this is some interesting, I think, for functionality for Copilot. Being enabled on these new PCs. One thing here is, there is no when's it coming. It's just whenever it is.
When's it generally available?
It is not. It's only generally available when you have the machine that you purchased.
So the latest Surfaces, for example?
Yeah, that's right. So I'm not going to talk about when it's available because that's not available. So like meta. What I would like to talk about is controlling permissions in the lobby, Daryl. So
yeah, that's it's good to see more meeting options for Teams. We do have quite a few of them to be able to control the meeting and tailor it to the purposes of the meeting. And I've actually been talking a lot about this recently to clients. I do find, Daniel, the templates that are available within Teams to when you're creating a meeting, they can help you choose all of those sorts of things based on what you need. So we'll have a new one. It's Microsoft Teams' new meeting option to control permissions for admitting participants in the lobby. I'll step through it, and we'll keep it quick, but I like this one because, Daniel, often I find myself presenting in other organizations. I get given that role elevated. I'm not from the org, but I might come in and do a talk. And I end up seeing, especially those really popular ones, because I draw quite a virtual crowd. Ping, 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 over the top to say, oh, this person wants to get in, that person wants to get in. And, we have co-organizers to help manage that flow of people coming in. But it can be quite distracting, especially at the beginning, don't you think?
Absolutely, and confusing. I mean, it's distracting because who's supposed to do this?
Yeah.
Who's supposed to let those people in? And is there a reason why, we're not letting them in? Initially, are we supposed to be talking about something? Getting things together? Talking about the agenda, figuring out who's going to do what? That kind of thing.
So the good news here with this option is you can tune it so only organizers and co-organizers will see those prompts. I think it's a safe option for those meetings where they do want to look over the audience as they're in a lobby and say, oh, you're not supposed to be here. How'd you get that link? But on the flip side, it's also a good option for presenters. They can just get on with presenting content without getting all those notifications popping up over the top. So when is this option rolling out? Generally available, will be rolling out July 2024, complete mid-2024, and general availability for GCC will begin rolling out mid-July 2024, complete late July. And moving on to, I guess, another Teams message. This episode is, we've got a loyal sponsor of Teams, but we've also seemed to secure some Copilot sponsorship. Move us into some more organizer capabilities.
Yes, so this one is Microsoft Teams organizers can manage access to meeting transcripts, recordings, AI-generated recap, and Copilot, MC795083. So this one is an ability to have who can access the recording to a meeting after the fact, basically. So it's recording and transcript, because when you talk about the recap that's AI generated from whether it's Teams Premium or Copilot, that is based on your transcript, right? So who has access to that after the fact? And what you're going to be able to do for the settings for this meeting as an organizer is to be able to select who has access. So the three options are going to be everyone. So this is anyone with the meeting link, or it says nudged into the meeting has access. I don't know if nudged is a word I've used in this context. Have you ever used nudged?
No, I think no. It's just okay. You're bringing someone into a meeting you didn't plan to. You're just adding them because they could help.
Yeah. The second one would be organizer and co-organizers. That I think is going to be interesting, and maybe we can talk about some reasons why. And then the third is specific people. So besides the organizers, which this option because it says that, I'm guessing that includes organizers, and then specific individuals that you're going to name. So some scenarios where this might come into play is, Daryl and I were talking about, you're having a meeting and it's recorded. Maybe it's for administrative purposes, meaning and it doesn't even have to be negative. It could be just a conversation you're having with an employee, or it could be something that we're discussing something that we don't want to get out into the general population of the organization. And so we're recording it, sure, but we don't want to let attendees to then take, that recording and share it accidentally or on purpose. And so we want to limit only the organizers to be able to see that meeting. Daryl, do you see yourself using this moving forward, or suggesting it to your clients?
Well, aside from administrative reasons, most meetings by default are shared with everyone who attends the meeting from your organization. That's where they kind of fall in that specific people space, where in the background, the people who attended are given specific access to the file. But I think the other scenario I see is if I'm presenting a training or running a webinar of sorts that might need a bit of editing afterwards just to tidy it up and make it a bit more consumable, then I might use this option and just make it available for organizers and co-organizers and share it other ways afterwards.
Okay. I agree with you. That I think that would be interesting. We want to provide a video, maybe it's a training or, whatever, but we don't want you to have that raw footage. We want to be able to trim it up a little bit. I have definitely done that with my recordings before, I'm going to provide you the recording after I remove, the beginning or the end, just to, clean it up a little bit.
Yeah. And that's quite important too when you've got automatic recording turned on. You might not have, you're not attending the meeting, but you've organised it, you've ticked that box to make sure it will be recorded and that you can manage that recording. But you need to trim off all the welcomes and jovial stuff at the beginning before the meeting starts.
Absolutely. So targeted release rolling out early June, completed by mid-June 2024, and general availability mid-June, and will be finished rolling out general availability by late June 2024. I don't know why availability became a word that I couldn't say.
It must be that time of day, Daniel.
Well, maybe. So let's then go back. If it's the time of day, I want to go back, way back to classic.
To the classics.
Let's
play some classics. Yeah. Yes. Which, in this case, many people still do. Classic Outlook still the favourite version of Outlook of many. Daniel and I, maybe we're just out of favour. But it's good to see Microsoft Copilot for M365 experiences available in Classic Outlook for Windows. That's quite a mouthful. Abridged version, Classic Outlook gets Copilot. There you go. MC 794816. Yep, as I described, our Classic Outlook will get the Copilot features. An interesting trend we're seeing with some applications now, that app rail that we have within Outlook, let's be consistent, it's called an app rail in Teams, let's call it an app rail in Outlook, will have Copilot there too. It'll just, I guess, open it up as like a iframed kind of window and give you the Microsoft 365 Copilot experience within Outlook. But more importantly, the tighter integration of Copilot that we have been able to experience in new Outlook and Outlook on the web. When we're looking over a conversation, we can summarize it. When we need some help with coaching or drafting out what we've written for a message, we've got those capabilities in Classic now. And you can change the tone too. So there's all sorts of nice drop-down ways of making that quick and possible. And this will be a developing space as well. So it's good to see Classic being included in this, given that it's probably 80 to 90%, and this is a made-up stat, but probably that of the number of people that are using Outlook and interacting with Outlook for day-to-day experiences. Daniel, I know that, like I said, you and I will use new Outlook and Outlook on the web, but do you have clients which have Copilot and would be happy to see this?
I think for me, no. I think the ones that are pushing Copilot are the ones that have already switched, to the new Outlook. But what I think this is also what this is doing though is opening it up to say, hey, you could use Copilot to do this and this. No, we can't because we are using Outlook Classic, and therefore we can't. Well, now you can, right? So this is kind of removing a barrier for adoption rather than, something that where people were adopting it and just not having the features. I think for me, if it just makes sense to say, okay, removing that barrier or excuse maybe to not roll out Copilot.
This is an unusual message in its when will this happen, the rollout. I haven't seen this before now that I look at it. It talks about not just Copilot being in Outlook, in Classic Outlook, but feature by feature. So your standard release of Copilot, the Copilot chat experience, that's your Copilot on the app rail, is going to be your standard release rolling out starting mid-June, and current channel will finish in June 2024. The summarize feature of Copilot and coaching, so as you're typing that message, or you're just as you're crafting one, is already available in current channel and monthly channel. So we're talking about the release channels for Outlook on the desktop or Outlook for Windows, and draft by Copilot is available current channel, rolling out to monthly enterprise in May 2024. So I think your key things that as administrators are looking at this, they're thinking, what channel do we have people on? You know, maybe you've got a group of people that are early channel, they're getting things ahead of time. When are these things arriving for them, and then when will it arrive for the rest of their org? So yeah, it's interesting to see it broken down that way. But yeah, moving from Copilot and Microsoft 365 and Classic Outlook, let's talk a bit more about Copilot and Windows.
I was about to say, you're like, moving away from Copilot, let's talk about Copilot.
Yeah.
This one is Evolving Copilot in Windows for Your Workforce, MC795-006. This is, this is the episode for weird rollout timing in messages. So I hope that's what you came here for, because that's what you're getting. So this one is when they rolled out Copilot in Windows 11, there was some feedback from people saying, you're forcing this on us. We don't want this. We don't want our users to have it. It's too much, or whatever. Whatever the reason was. So they had released a temporary control to turn it off, or really to enable it, I guess I should say. And it is what this message is saying. They're going to basically take that from a kind of a Windows feature into an app. So you'll be able to manage the Copilot app, just like you would be managing other modern apps in Windows for your organization. So you can use Intune and such to manage that. So it'll be moving the Copilot app from the tray to it'll be like front and center kind of thing, right? As an app like other apps are. And it really will be something. I like this because it really will be something that'll be easy to say. I'm turning that off or I'm turning it on. It's going to be an app that can be resized and moved around and everything in my experience. So I'm excited about this. Honestly, because I think it does bring us to that point of, well, you don't want it, fine, cool, but you do want it, great. You can roll it out, and it could be just like any other app from the Microsoft Store.
Yeah, I think a part of there was levels of objection here. Yeah. Some that just didn't want it, didn't want the button on their taskbar. But I'm one that I don't like too many things being on the side if I'm going to be using it, because it seems like every application's vying for that space. Yeah. And when you triggered off that Copilot in Windows, it would push out over the top of your content, and you're like, oh, okay, great. But having it as its own independent window makes a lot of sense. It does, come at an interesting time where the Copilot button has been introduced into certain keyboards on devices for, the new Surface, for example, that it won't, I guess, now pop open the side panel, but rather it will be, that, and up comes Copilot as its own independent window.
But as an app, right?
Yes.
This is part of the build announcement. And so if you want to learn a little bit more, there's the announcement down at the very bottom. You can click that link. But that's the build announcement that also includes Copilot Plus. So timeline. They're going to take a phased and measured approach to the rollout of this update. So we don't know the timeline, and they're going to let us know soonish, maybe, of when they're going to do it.
So they could just put words in there like, we're feeling this out at the moment, so we'll let you know. Don't call us, we'll call you.
Daryl?
Yeah?
I'm ready for some rapid fire. Let's finish this episode off with rapid fire, sir.
Yeah, real quick. That really, I'm going to address two messages that are very similar. I know. We've done this before, and it can go horribly wrong, but we'll start off with Microsoft Teams notification suppression for hidden channels. This is MC793969. When you have a channel visible, shown, Then you can see all the activity going on at bold. You can see various different mention labels and like. Particularly when you're at mentioning the channel, you'll get a notification because you've said to Teams, show this channel, I'm interested in this activity. When you hide a channel, it's still there, it's available and accessible, you can go in and read the stuff, but we usually hide channels when we're not really focused on the work or content or conversation that's happening within that channel. This suppresses some notifications, and we're kind of questioning, okay, if I've hidden the channel, that suppresses channel mentions, yeah, but I'm still going to get personal mentions because when people personally mention me, I want to know about it. I'll still get mentions when I'm in a tag, like those informal mentioned groups that you can have within a team. And then the only other mention I can think of is mentioning the team. So what is this suppressing? Well, I mean, it should be suppressing at mentioning of channels already. I think the only thing left on that list is the team mention. Could be wrong. But yeah, let's see how this plays out. And I'll race through the when will this happen before I go to the next similar message. General availability will begin rolling out June 2024 and complete late June. A GCC, similar thing. July 2024, complete late, early July. GCC high. I'm wondering, we should interview someone about how and when and why they break these down. We begin rolling out mid-July 2024, expected to complete mid-July 2024, another instant one. We get into those instant categories. And DoD, mid-July, complete late July. Moving on to that similar message.
Luckily, Daryl, the next message has the exact same rollout, so...
Yeah, just remember what I said, and I say, yeah, or read the message. No, hang on, that's why you watch us and listen. Similar vein, Microsoft Teams suppressing notifications for muted chats. It's kind of like the hidden channel of the chat app, isn't it? MC793965. Similarly, if you have hidden a chat, it doesn't mean that you're done with that, but you can still go in and check out the activity. And as similar as hidden channels, when someone mentions you, they're bringing you back into the conversation. You definitely want to know about that, so you will get that notification. What is this suppressing? The at everyone mention, I think it is.
And reactions.
And reactions, right. So, at everyone, okay, I don't need to know when everyone's been mentioned in the chat because I've muted it. I understand that. That makes sense. Reactions, I probably don't see them because I'm a grumpy old man and I turn them off and I don't want to be notified and see a banner when someone likes or... Anyway.
I need that affirmation, Daryl.
You do?
So I don't turn it off, yeah.
Okay, I'll send you a notification. But I feel like across these two messages, Daniel, it's not really suppressing much. I was excited when I saw, good, some new ways to control the noise, but... No.
I think it's just that one thing, really. It's the at everyone and the notification, which is also translated at mentioning the channel or the team, right? It's kind of comparable to that, as well as the reactions. Cool. And I think the reason why we cover it quickly here, though, is it is important enough to mention that of how you might want to use this and educate your user base. But it feels like it should have been that way already. So good. It's catching up. I like it.
Yeah. Yep. So same delivery dates. Go back 2 minutes and find them.
Nice.
It's interesting. Yeah, like they've got a link through to explain a bit more about controlling those notifications. But that is the show. That was
indeed it is
the post build show where we didn't focus too much on build content. Well, this is it. These are the messages.
I think we'd love to hear were there some build announcements that you liked? That let's have a conversation in chat or on socials at 365MCS, or use that email show at 365mcs.com. That's a great email to use if you want to sponsor the show. Reach out to us. That'd be great as well. Thank you everyone for watching and listening, and we will catch you next week. Bye for now.
Bye for now.